All right, welcome back. 7 o'clock, day trading radio. DayTraderRockStar here with you. Nighttime research session, and I'm recording it in case you miss it. And just want to start off. Futures are open up for about an hour right now. They're up 3 points, 2 points. S&P futures, that is, at the highs of the session, as you can see on that. We'll go into detail on that. But tonight we're gonna get you set up for tomorrow. And yesterday I sent out a video, and we discussed the seasonal effect or the Thanksgiving effect to the markets, and where we typically see weakness in the beginning of the week, and then the 2 days before Thanksgiving we see strength or buying, and then possibly at the last day of the week we see some selling. So right now we got a rally today, as kind of as predicted and expected, which was great. You know, we had a nice look. It wasn't really a hard trade to the upside. It was a kind of a boring trade most of the day, and then it kind of started to ramp up towards the in the afternoon. But you know, it was an okay day, and it felt pretty good. It felt like, all right, this market's not really going to give anything back. You know, and you could even get chopped up. There wasn't many great divergences. There was a couple. I'll go over those also. And a big shout out to the room. You guys hear me okay out there? I just want to make sure one more time. Make sure everything's not muted or anything. That would be a shame. I don't think it is muted. I see it on my screen here. All right, good. Thank you. All right, so market actually getting a little action here. Might even have a trading opportunity in a bit. So the first thing tomorrow, you know, there's a couple of things we have to think about tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be day before holiday. And typically, my experience, and it goes, you know, I've traded many Thanksgiving Day Eve, Eve situations, Thanksgiving Day, day before. And what happens is, you know, the market drastically dries up as you go into the afternoon. You know, volume really drops off. People go on vacation early. You know, it was back in the day. That was in the 90s. Things have changed. You know, there's not as many day traders out there, or traders that kind of, you know, it's just different. You know, it's not like they're taking off to the Hamptons. People are probably in the Hamptons trading. It's not, you know, things are different. So it doesn't play out as much. You know, maybe we're going to have volume all day. But the key thing here is going to be we have Fed minutes coming out at 2 o'clock. So the combination of possibly low volume and some minutes, which, you know, I don't know, you know, I'm sure nothing's going to be too exciting out of those, but it usually is a catalyst one way or another. So I'm thinking, you know, making a call on the markets. I could see us trading higher up until that time frame, up until about 2 o'clock when the minutes come out. And then we have a reason to maybe see some selling coming into the end of the day. And that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. I want to bring up the calendar for you, because there's a lot of other things that could affect this market. So we're going to bring over this. This is the Forex calendar. It's called Forex Factory. And this is great because it keeps you up to date. Let me refresh it here so it puts my green arrow in. So next thing here, we got some New Zealand stuff coming out at 8 p.m. and it's about 7 o'clock right now. And you see that green arrow? It'll sync to your local time, so that'll just tell you what time locally this will show up. So again, these are pretty big. These are red envelopes, red folders representing a high impact to the markets. So we'll see how that does down under. And then at 3:15, European Open area, French flash PMI is coming out. And then you can see some, 3:30 German flash manufacturing PMI. And, you know, these could move the market overnight. And I'm sure this will move the market overnight, the PMI. And again, Europe, a lot of PMIs coming out overnight. And then we have the U.S. markets open up here, and at 8:30, look at everything we got. We got durable goods. We got durable good month over month. unemployment claims. All right. We have flash service PMI. That's a big one for us, 945. We have manufacturing. Then we have new home sales, which is a big one too. I don't have it as red, but I would consider that one a pretty big one because that's the Fed is looking at housing markets a lot now. And 10 o'clock at 10:30, we have crude oil inventories. So there's a lot of news tomorrow. There's a lot of news in the morning, tomorrow morning. So that's going to be something. And you can see going into Thanksgiving, nothing. We're not going to pay attention to anything on Thanksgiving, and Friday, nothing either. So, there's going to be busy tomorrow. I'm excited for it. Let's take a look at the chart and see where we're going to, what we could expect. Now, I think, we went over this earlier on the day. In a way, and this is a kind of a portion of what we're going to be doing tonight. Is going to be doing a little education. We're going to talk about trend lines and the proper use of trend lines, and some tricks on a trend line, especially how I trade trend lines a lot. How do I draw them in there? Lots of times you'll see trend lines that are broken through, but it's important to understand. The trend lines giving you it's giving you the clues, and you have to just follow the clues. But we're going to be we're going to take the lesson right out of the School of Stock, and we're going to be doing that on trend lines tonight. So that's going to be a good thing. That's going to be after this video, which is probably not going to be more than 10 more minutes. So we were following this channel up. We got up into the X marks the spot area, up to the 200 period moving average, which was our last target, that 420 area. Got up to 426. It was in that area. And from that point on, we pulled all the way back down. And then we kind of started moving back up. And today we have the Thanksgiving Day effect and a nice pop. Now, look, right underneath that 200 period moving average again. That's has to be considered the first area resistance, first catalyst zone, a really big zone. Even if we gap up to that point, and who knows, we might gap up 20 points tomorrow morning. You never know. With all the European news coming out, we might open up. If we opened up right on that 200 period moving average for any reason, I would take a short. I would take some puts into that. Whenever we gap up into a major area like that, that tends to be a top. So, that's one scenario. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's a pretty big gap up. Probably about 20 some points, but it could happen. I've seen it many times, all the time, actually. That's not a big thing. So let's consider that. Let's consider that 200 period moving average on the S&P. We opened up at that level. There's a shot that we can pull back. Now, if we get through that level, our next target is going to be this 1, 2, 3 channel. This is the 1, the 2, the 3. You trade 4. You continue to watch that channel. Pushed up to it here, and again, it would have to be up here, and that's an older channel coming back from the bottom here, so we call that an X marks the spot. It's when two channels intersect, and it's always funny how our price ends up going to the X marks the spot here, and now we have a possible X marks the spot trade up here, and this would be my final, really goal on this move at 41.13. If I could be exact, I would say wherever that cross is right there, 41.26, give or take. It's give or take, I don't know, 5 to 10 points. All right, I know 10 sounds like a lot, but in this market, it's not. So I think that's a good target up here. X marks the spot, 41.28. And if from that point on, who knows where we go? We could even break out of there, and we'll reevaluate at that point. But that is my overall target right there. X marks the spot, give or take 10 points. For right now, we're going to call it 41.28. All right, I should write that down. So just like I wrote the other one down, and it stays there like a flag. All right, where's my text box? I can't even see. All right, there it is. All right, 41. Oh, Yeah, we're going to call it 41.28 target. Our last target was 420 right here. All right, 41.28. All right, that's good. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, we do have the CPI coming in early next month, which is right around the corner. December is right around the corner. And and that's probably going to be that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. That's going to be the big one. We already know that the Fed's probably not going to raise 75 basis points. We're probably going to do 50. And, the commentary that comes out, if they're starting to pivot a bit, might give us a little, action. But definitely next month, right before Christmas, are they going to say anything to disturb the markets before Christmas? I don't know. Am I a conspiracy guy like that? I don't know. I don't think so. So much for the rally into midterms, right? All right. Look at yesterday when we put out the video, we kind of focused on this consolidation and just said, we had this beautiful divergence here, 5-minute divergence. That was the bottom. That was a little fake out too. Remember, there was like a little fake news that came out at this level and flushed the market. Then it reversed, pulled back. Almost another argument for a divergence back here, but I wouldn't call it that. And you had just nice grind up rally. Now, do we have a follow through? Do we continue to grind up? We're overextended on probably multiple time frames. The hourly is up there now. The hourly is up there. And it's up there pretty good, which is not bad. And we're just going to take a look at the daily. And that's very bullish. And we talk about that. If we ever turn back up and stay up in this level, that's very bullish. I got to, tell you, I'm a little bit more bullish taking a look at the daily. Take a look at the 60 right now. Seeing these targets up here, especially the 41.28 level. All right. Now, there is multiple gaps that we left behind. Thanks for throwing water on my flames there. I do, concerned about gaps, and that's something to watch. Let's see which way this thing goes. It doesn't mean we can't get up to this level and then come back down and fill those gaps. Tell you something, I had a friend stop by, kind of help him manage his IRA, and he was asking me about his Airbnb. And we were looking at the Airbnb, and I was, saying, well, I'm a big believer in that, but I'm not a big believer of the chart. So I was we're working out, what we would do. He was down like $5,000 in it. He had only like 50 shares, but, buying it up here, when everyone else was into Airbnb. So he's down a lot on it. Like I said, I think it's 50 shares he had. But, I looked at it and I said, Airbnb, it's really hard to say. It's starting to maybe give us a 14.3 divergence, but I thought something really good for him, again, in his IRA. I said, Airbnb and Disney are the same price. Which one would I rather be in, personally? I told him to sleep well at night because he has no idea. And I said, it's hard to tell with that Airbnb. You don't know. But I know where Disney's going. I know Disney just got Bob Iger back. I said, if I were you, I'd just switch out. He goes, won't I do taking that loss? I said, no. I mean, how many? You have 50 shares in there. Airbnb is $98. Put 50, sell that. Put the 50 shares in Disney. It's $96. It's an even trade. I said, don't even think about the loss. You do not lose. You just transferring money into a better stock. And he goes, yeah, that's great idea. And a lot of people need to think of it that way. You can't just say, I don't want to sell because, I don't want to take the loss. And I said, don't think of it that way. Your money's that money. If you take a loss or you don't take a loss, if you sell it, you still have that money. You put it into something that's working in your favor, you're going to get your money back faster. There's no doubt that I know this guy's going to get his money back better on Disney right now on the air, just because of, and I went back with him. We went over my Bob Iger's his history with Disney, and when he started, I think he started in 2005 and went to 2020. That's where he went from 2005 to 2020. Disney was up 400, almost 500% in his tenure. And now they got rid of the old guy, and he bring him in a year after he retires. They bring him back. I just think that's a great move on Disney's part, and Disney's here at the bottom. I just think this is probably a good turnaround play, and for someone who's going to be holding it for the next 10 years, I think it's a good thing. It's not as aggressive as Airbnb. Who knows where Airbnb is going to go? But I think and this is going out to anybody else. I think Disney down here with Bob Iger on board, guy's a master. He's a black belt in business. He knows the company like the back. And I think they said, well, he's only going to be around a year. He's going to help find the new person, But, hey, who knows? But he could be a rock star now. He could come in here. He probably had a year off. When you have a year off, the guy's probably ready to go back to work, first of all. And he's like, all right, let me get the hell out of the house here. And, he's probably always thinking about, like, man, I should have done that when I was dizzy. Oh, now, probably, it's always on his mind and stuff. And now having a clear head and a year off, he probably is going back, fired up. He goes, I want to implement some of the stuff I didn't implement before because from the outside, I could see it. It's broken until it gets the doctors in the house now, Yamada. The doctor's in the house. Dr. Iger, please report to the emergency room. A good point there. Racer pointed out that Walt Disney, Robert, will receive separation benefits, but even more important, Iger is eligible for an annual performance-based bonus with a target equal to 100% of his annual base salary. So he's getting paid $1 million. So he gets it, that's the target on performance base. That's his best interest. In his best interest to do what's needs to be done. And about Disney going woke, I'm sure, there's the people are going to be, it's going to be shuffled up around, the whole company's going to have a little makeover, I have a feeling. We'll see what happens with it. That's just the world that we live in now. Oh, Black Friday sale. I have to put that on the video in case anybody's interested. Contact me myself or RPM, and we'll set you up for the lifetime special with the Rockbot, everything with Day Trading Radio, free for life, and our great thanks. And you get the Rockbot code, and we're going to talk more about the code because I'm in the process of trying to update it and get the latest version out. Has some tweaks in it, and we're going to release the code to some people. And we're forming a section of the site called the Rockbot Developers Forum. And these people who get the code are be part of the forum, and they're going to be updating, and leaving all kinds of updates and stuff and tweaks and trying to make a whole community around the Rockbot. That's all I ask. But that's, I'm actually in the process of doing that. And that section's for lifetime members. That's going to be strictly a lifetimer developers section for the Rockbot. So I'm working on getting the code out to the people, and those people are going to be in the. We just got a couple of things to take care of, but that's top on the list. That's top on the list. I'm actually going to be working on it tonight, and I see Chewy in the room. Just taking a look at this is the 1 minute Rockbot, and I want to show you the what I have on this. And this is kind of, if you want to put it on, this is on the MES, so this is on the micros. So I'll show you the parameters I have. Now these are different scripts that I have. I have them on my computer. On your computer, if you have the scripts or you have the bot, you have you'll probably have the ones on the lower. But the ones you want to pay attention to are the 5-minute, the Thunderbird 5-minute buy signal. You have the Thunderbird 1-minute SS, which we're going to get rid of that. We're going to actually discontinue that because there's an easier way to do that, and I'm going to show you. I'll show you that in the next version. So that's not going to be around anymore. It's better to have actually the 5-minute and 1-minute running at the same time. The 1-minute short, the 1-minute buy, super signal, again, that's going to go. And the bull and bear flags would work good. But we want to always use the Thunderbird 5-minute buy signal. Now, I label these buy, 5-minute buy, 1-minute buy, just so I can put them on different charts and we could run different charts. But the script is identical. But the script is actually not identical. It was meant to be identical, but there was a little slope difference in the 1-minute time frame. Meaning it requires a higher turn up on the stochastic band, 9.3 stochastic. It has a little higher instead of coming down to like 20, or it has to be above 20. In this case, it has to be above 25. And it won't give you as many setups as the other one, but they're both basically divergent scripts. So one's a little bit more active, and I say that, and the better one I would say is the 5-minute, just because there's too many good ones that the 1-minute's not picking up. Not because the 1-minute gives you wrong, it's just not picking up some of the better divergences, which the 5-minute is. So I'm always using that 5-minute buy divergence as on the 1-minute time frame, or on the 5-minute time frame, or on the 60-minute time frame. It's just a label that I put originally because I was just setting them up in different charts so people could see them. But it's just a generic script. It could be just called Thunderbird, and that's what we're going to do. So the next version, you're going to see just a Thunderbird signal. And I'm using the Thunderbird 5-minute buy and short, long and short, basically. And I'm gonna just turn these off for a second so you can see. All right, this is the short side. My parameters on the short side are 12. Take profits after 12. So you get the divergence as it come back down 12 ticks. All right, 3 points. 3 points. It'll take profits. It's set up for a lot of 5. You can put that whatever you want. I just have it. This is kind of the default. 24 is the second profit, takes 2 off, and I have on the short side of things, you don't have a candle bar stop, you just have a stop loss in ticks. So I put 12 there. That's a 3-point stop. That's pretty tight. But remember, this is supposed to identify the divergence for you, and then you could adjust your trade. And I would recommend putting that stop at the high, that divergence high, and it might be higher than the 3 points that is written here, are given. That could be, you could put down 18, and then when it sets it, you could move it down a little, so that's another way of doing it. I'll just keep it at the 12. I like the divergences so much to work. And then after it takes the second profit, then the last one is followed by a 10-tick trailing stop. There's one contract left. And I put it on the original gangster buy chart account. I have different accounts set up so I could run these different scripts on different accounts, and that way you don't get, I keep everything organized. And then we enable it, and then boom. And then we're going to take a look at the buy side one. And the buy side one, again, this is on the 1 minute. Remember, this is a 1 minute time frame, so everything's going to be faster. It's going to be a 5 to 7 minute trade at the most. Each candle representing 1 minute. Divergence signals give us 5 to 7 candles in the direction of the divergence, unless we have a 5-minute rotation, which is the 60-10 in our favor. And that 60-10 is coming off the ground, coming off the floor and starting to turn up. Let me actually, if that starts to turn up, I could, I want to judge that and decide if I want to keep that trade on longer or not. Again, the purpose of the bot was to tell me when a divergence was. I was supposed to analyze it and place my stops and manage the trade. I would, we can't be there overnight on lack of volume, maybe buy programs, maybe news that chops the market up. Any type of bot will eventually get run over. So again, this is an identifier thing. It just happens you can actually, it is on a NinjaTrader platform. For any script I identifies, you could also put a buy signal in there and have it buy for you. It is, but I highly recommend identifying, letting it take the trade and then analyze the market around that trade. If you're in a downward trend and you get a buy side divergence and it's been trending down all the day, you might not get your 4 or 12 tick bounce. Maybe you only get an 8 tick or a 2 point bounce. So you could measure that, and you could understand that better. You can't rely on, I have a stop, just a generic stop and a loss. Each market is different. Each market is going to give you more or give you less, depending on what the overall trend is. Especially the 20-period moving average. If you look back here, over here, look over here. Look how we hold that 20-period moving average constantly, and we're chopping around it. So everything comes into play on this. So it's 6. I have it as taking profit 6. That's 1.5 points. And then the second profit is 3 points. And then I have the signal bar low set, trailing stop of 8 ticks after the second target. And that's it. And it looks like we have a divergence right now about to set up here. Let's see if we capture that divergence with the bot. Let's see. Oh, that's scary. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look back at here, and you can see there will be situations where you'll get. I also have the short side running here too, so sometimes it gets a little crowded. Sometimes you have to really zoom this out to kind of get a feel for what the trade was. Looks like there was a divergence here. And again, it was a little choppy here, so it would and it rolled over and it took that stop out. It was not much of one, but then it came in with a better divergence, and this is a real good divergence. Look at this. See this low? And look at how high this low is down here on the stochastic. That's something you want to say, all right, that's a great divergence. I got alerted to this one, but I could see that it's kind of a sloppy divergence. Mathematically, it probably set up as a divergence, but maybe I'd be a little bit more cautious if I saw that, because I want my rotation higher and then to come back, and then I want it high, so I want a much steeper angle from here to here. From the second, I call it the second stage of the divergence. Down to here. Versus here to here. I want this to be steeper, the second stage to be up here. And that's going to give us, and I see that, then I'm more comfortable staying in the trade longer. All right. Here's the divergence long. Probably off of this candle. And it probably was a little bit higher than the previous high. And again, another situation where it's not giving us that pure divergence, which we love when we get a higher, but it was a divergence, mathematical. It will pull those out. That's why it's important to make sure you take profits if you don't get a good divergence and watch the trade. Now, where was this one came in here? Oh, this candle right here. See that candle? There was some news. This area right here, remember I watched this today, it was what we call the 350 algo. It's a murder algo, and it took this, it shot up here, and it was a great short. And it came in short, and it didn't get enough of a profit, so it kind of chopped around. It just chopped out here. But that was a fast little, I remember seeing that during the day. It was a fast little divergence. It kind of just chopped around, and that was right at the end of the day. So again, you probably would not take this at the end of the day. So some of these setups that are running automatic on the bot shouldn't be counted, shouldn't be traded. You have to pick your spots. This one didn't have it should have taken profits. I wonder what happened here. This was a nice, sure. I wonder if we just didn't get enough room here. And that's 2 o'clock. Again, another thing, if you get a nice short divergence, you can see that candle here, it takes the short. we move all the way down, but it doesn't take profits. Maybe it doesn't hit your profit. Maybe it's just something happens. You have to measure it out with your 9-3 stochastic. At this point right here, see where that arrow is? At that point, the stochastic got over underneath that 20 line. That would be your signal to sell off of this divergence. Now, what we happened to see, kind of bounced a little and pulled back, and then it really bounced to higher. So, first rotation is important. These are some things I would like to get updated on the bot in the future, kind of doing that. Here's your divergence, a nice pop, trailing stop comes back. And again, market's famous for coming back and putting that, grabbing that trailing stop. It just seems perfect all the time. Real steep divergence here, big candles. And just, great signals overall. Great signals overall. If we look back, I always like to say, we'll take a bird's eye view of all these setups, and you can typically see that they're in good. These are good positions. This was probably again, that was at 9:30. Wouldn't probably take a 9:31. I'd rather take a 9:30 divergence on a visual divergence on a 5-minute time frame. So there's a learning curve on this, no doubt. But the tool.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Look at that. Remember we were talking about seeing that divergence?
Order submitted. Order submitted.
There's a live divergence happening right now. We got ourselves a live divergence in front of us. Oh, let me fix this. So I'll stop 2 things here. It wouldn't, again, I would not want these things to run overnight. This is not a healthy divergence. It doesn't have the volume. It's a 200 period moving average. Certain things that I know that I wouldn't take. We're very close to the 200 period moving average. We're very close to the lows. We're not getting an aggressive bounce here. The one thing interesting here is this lower stochastic band we are getting oversold on. Now, if this started turning back up, we might actually see this, but let's see what happens to it. Another time on that. All right, well, that's the update on that. But we're working on that right now to get the developers forum, and I'll probably be working on it tonight. I want to put this back over into the bot channel. Now, the bot channel is, you have it on your dashboard, your members' dashboard, so it actually is helping you identify those levels. That's what it's meant for. Identify the divergence. Let's clarify. I want a tool that tells me, Johnny, you're not paying attention to the market. Oh, let me look. Oh, wow, look at that one. That's a good one. I want to get in this fast. I don't want to miss these opportunities. These opportunities, like finding money on the street sometimes. Combined with the tradeometer, same thing with that. I texted Jeff Hirsch, the Stock Trader Almanac, as I did a video on his article about the Thanksgiving rally. He's been tweeting me back on Twitter, which is nice. So I said, where is it here? He said the Almanac trade was perfect. Thanksgiving rally is here. Follow through tomorrow and sell Friday, or is this the beginning of an end of the year rally? MESES, Twitter Almanac Trader. He goes, Jeff goes, and Jeff is usually on CNBC, but Jeff goes, I'm going year-end rally, but not without hiccups. Not without hiccups, he says. Everyone takes offense. You heard it here first, before CNBC. Stock Trader Almanac, looking for a year-end rally. Put it out on the hot presses. The hot presses, the hot pockets. Get a hot pocket. So look at this. See how that broke down to the 200? I'm not worried about, there's certain good divergences to trade. I know when they are. I know the good divergences. We could spot them. We could spot them very easily. And it's important to have the patience and wait for them, because those are the easy pitches. All right, so we're just going to go back here one more time before I send this video on its way and continue on with. We're going to do a little lesson on trend lines next. That's a special. This was this morning, the 950? Monday. Oh, this was on Monday. This was a 5-minute divergence. You see this high and this higher high right here? You can see the angle here, the lower high on this high right here. That was it. That was all she wrote on the market at that point. I went out pretty far. That went out to Monday. I'm just looking at, just rolling through this really fast to see if there was any divergences. This is beautiful looking down here. I feel like a heart surgeon. I'm looking at the rhythm of the heart here, and I can see if the market's about to have a heart attack. Almost a quad rotation here. Almost a quad rotation there. Again, there was a lot of chop the last couple of days, so we know we were in this really tough sideways channel. So I'm not looking at too much. I don't even see any really good divergences here. This is close. This is close. That's at 12 o'clock in the morning. Again, you got to be careful on the overnight. The only time I like those divergences, sometimes around the Asian Open between 9 and 10 o'clock, European Open between 3 and 4 o'clock, and then our Open. Those are the times we like to see those 5-minute divergences. See, I'm not saying, and there will be days when there's not much out there. There'll be days where we mark this chart up like with a lot of lines and say, wow, back and forth. It's very easy to see these. Not seeing anything here that's just like looks like a good divergence. I mean, this is the only the quad rotation right here is the only one I could actually see. Seeing that dotted line start to come into play here. That's the first rotation here. Oh, there was one here too. Let me see how this, I didn't even look at the top here. It's like I'm closing my eyes. That's another quad rotation, but it doesn't look, that would be right here. All right, so it's not, that's not bad.
Order filled.
That's
Order
not bad,
submitted.
and that was one
Order
here, right
submitted.
here too.
Order submitted.
Oh, man. All right, I have 1 minute. Oh, I think I turned off the script. I moved the rock bot over. That's where it is. The rock bot's over on the other channel there now. This was a little divergence here, we pointed out. But it didn't really do much. I mean, it just chopped around. It did have this slight little pullback. Whenever I see a slight pullback like that, you see a couple things here. You're looking at maybe a rotation play when they all get a rotation, because it's a longer pullback, and sometimes it takes, that one didn't even pull back far enough. It takes a while to get this down here. In this case, it's actually a double bottom divergence and a higher stochastic rotation on the 9.3, on the 14.3 and the 9.3. That's a really good divergence right here. And those divergences pop, when they end up in a channel, that means it's at least a 2-star divergence. If you have a channel and a divergence, 9 times out of 10, that divergence is going to take you outside that channel on your target. 9 times, it's one of the highest probability trades I know, is a divergence inside of a channel. Here's your channel, here's your divergence, and there it goes outside the channel. Perfect 2020 flag today, called that. That was a nice move. Pull back to the 20, pull back to the 20, holding above the 85 area, and that's what we consider a flag. And then we have, so again, just a couple good trades we want to wait for, and that could be, I actually took some trades out of boredom today, and they worked against me because I was just waiting for something to happen. And if it didn't happen, I got frustrated and I took it off. It just grinded. You have to prepare, to make sure you don't fall into that trap. All right, I want to send this out. I hope you enjoyed this little update for tomorrow. Don't forget to get in contact with me or Paul for the Black Friday sale. DayTradingRadio.com. All right, I'm sticking around with you guys. Going to continue the show.